Well, what's going on, gang? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. It is very nice to have you here today. I've got something new to me on the table by way of a good friend of mine, goes by Napsterninja over on Instagram. This is something that's been around for a little while, but I haven't had a chance to have one or even have one in hand, really. This is the Socom Bravo Mini. Now, I am not a huge fan generally of small knives. I have a few that really work for me, but I do have a thing for knives that come in two sizes, and we'll share some of those in a minute. You know, I've had the full-size Socom Bravo here for quite some time, and I love this knife. I love this knife so much that when I first got it, it actually stalled me from looking for new knives for quite some time. There's just something about the way this thing fits in hand. So, when we were having lunch the other day, and I had a chance to grab the Mini here, first I was completely blown away at how just identical they are, right? I mean, this is everything that I love about the full size, just in a slightly smaller font, as it were. And then I opened the thing, and oh my, it is so comfortable. Now, this one is a Tanto. My full size is the drop point. But I just love this handle shape, right? It allows a small knife, right, which just still fits entirely in my hand, right? A little bit sticking out, so it's not tiny. But I mean, by comparison, it is. But it's just everything I love about the full-size Socom Bravo, just done a little smaller. And so we did some trading, and I brought it home. So let's take a look at what you get with the Socom Bravo Mini. Well, first and foremost, as I said, you get a smaller, I mean, obviously smaller version of the Socom Bravo. This is a Rike-made Microtech. Rike is a fairly well-known Chinese knife manufacturing company with some of the best, well, at least most interesting, milling and work out there. I don't have a lot of their actual stuff because they do really funky stuff, but I understand why Microtech went to them for this sort of factory build. It's because Rike can do all of this milling on the carbon fiber and on the titanium, this backspacer. They had the technology in place to do an absolutely gorgeous job. So let's get some specs out of the way. The Mini Bravo here has a just under 3¼ inch on just under 3½ inch M390 blade. You're cutting, like I said, 3 1/8, a little over 3 1/8 of cutting. There's no swell here, right there at the base of the plunge. It is perfectly done. It's got a nice little edge there on the Tanto. Now you want to be careful when you're sharpening Tantos, or you can round that off. Maybe you want to, I don't know, but you're just going to want to be careful. It has the milled titanium pocket clip. Let's go ahead and get the overall specs. So anyway, you know, 3 1/8 of cutting on just shy of 3½ inches of M390. The blade knife overall is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3/4 inches. Grip area from behind that swell right there, 3 3/4, which is just perfect. It is so comfortable. It is running on bearings. It is a frame lock. Well, it's a sort of a subframe, but a frame lock, as you can see. It does have a steel lock bar insert in it. You can see right through it. It's got a sort of semi-free floating backspacer that is full length. I really like that. Blade steel is considerably thinner in stock than its larger brother here. But beyond that, if you like this, you want a smaller knife, that is the way to go. Action is just fantastic, right? It just pops. So let's take a look. Closed length on the Mini Socom, 4 1/4. And the in-the-pocket profile is pretty good. Let me move that up a little bit so you guys can see it. At the absolute widest point, you're a little over 1¼ inch, but it's just a really lean knife in the pocket. Now, it is not entirely deep carry. Do I have... Yeah, that'll do. When it's in the pocket, you got a fair amount of knife sticking out. Not my favorite thing in the world. What Napsterninja said to me, and I agree with him, is I get it on the big one here, but on the smaller one, they could have gone deep carry. But hey, I'm not going to complain. I have a lot of pocket knives, somewhere in the range of 270 or so. And this, the full size, remains one of my all-time favorites. I have many that I could show you today. But this thing, there's something about this. It is just an easy carry. It is very slicey because it's slightly thinner blade stock, so it's comes to a much more, I think, steeper angle. I don't know what the bevel lines are, but let's check it out. Bevel is very accurate, right? No fat spots, no wide spots. You can see it's nice and even. This fuller is just beautiful. Oh, it's a little dirty. That's what you get for carrying your stuff. I very much wish that you could finger flick these out, but because they bury the blade in the handle, you can't. So the fuller is just sort of there for look, and of course it's a blood fuller. You know, if the blade doesn't get stuck in something you stick it in, I'm never going to do that, so I don't know. Yeah, let's do some size comparisons with knives you may be a little more familiar with. Here it is against, what should we do? Well, here it is against the Para 3, and as you can see, it's a little bit bigger than the Para 3. Of course, you get a lot more cutting surface. And here it is against the PM2. That's funny. I almost moved the wrong knife. As you can see, it's sort of in the middle. Right? A little bit bigger than the Para 3, a little bit smaller than the PM2. So it's mini, but mostly because of how big the full size is. I really like stuff like that. Let's, I mean, just a couple of examples that I have here. There's the Manix 2 and the Manix XL, right? And then from Benchmade, I got a bunch of Benchmades, but, you know, there's the Mini Adamas and the full-size Adamas. Yeah, right. These are, well, right now, on Blade HQ, they're about 180 bucks. And I got to tell you, for the money, you absolutely cannot go wrong. Let's weigh it. So, by way of example, the full size comes in at 5.7 ounces. The mini, 3.4. Now, 3.4 ounces on a just about 3.5 inch blade is right at that ounce per inch that the heavy-duty EDC guys used to talk about. I mentioned that the blade stock is a little thinner. Let's show you what I mean. I mean, it's a lot thinner. So, all right. The full size gives you, you know, you can see that 4.66. Yeah, 4.6665. I'm wiggling my hand. Millimeters of that M390. The mini, 3.48. So it is just a leaner slice of steel. Now this is a heavier hitter, right? Sort of a harder work tool. This is a much better, like, sort of everyday slicer. It's really nice. I have really slowed down my collecting. I'm not really part of the pass-around groups anymore, but as new things come to me, I am going to share them with you. And this is something I am very glad to have added to the collection. The titanium, the carbon fiber, just Microtech absolutely killed it in this design and then handed it off to a company that really knows what they're doing for the final build and finish. Look, I know, I can hear the Microtech fans. You know, oh, it's not made in America. I don't care. If you want made in America Microtechs, there are just, you know, all sorts of choices. You know, really expensive stuff, expensive but not super expensive stuff, you know. But they wanted to do something different, bring their knives to a different market. I'm not going to argue with that, and particularly if they're going to do stuff that is this good. Anyway, this is the Socom Bravo Mini from Microtech, but made by Rike. It is probably, I mean, as this is one of my top 2 or 3 all-time favorite knives, this is right next to it. If you've been thinking about getting one of these, they are on sale right now, and at 180 bucks, you just cannot go wrong. So, I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Socom Mini. I know I'm going to enjoy owning it. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope you guys are having a great day, and remember, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.